So how do you move at the speed of AI without, breaking everything? Today, we're diving into this idea of AI guardrails, a way to innovate safely and really at a massive scale.
I mean, let's be real, AI is this huge wave of change. It's not something that's coming anymore, it is here, and it's totally reshaping every single industry out there. Companies are just scrambling to get on board, because the potential, it's just enormous. But, with any powerful wave, there's always an undertow. These hidden dangers that can absolutely pull you under if you're not paying attention. The very thing that makes AI so amazing, its speed, is also what makes it so risky. So the big question is, how do we ride this thing without getting totally wiped out? And this brings us to what really feels like the AI Wild West. All the old safety rules, the procedures that worked just fine for regular software, they're just not cutting it anymore. They're too slow, too clunky, and honestly, they're breaking under the pressure. Yeah, the classic way of doing things was, you'd check for security or compliance problems after the whole thing was built, right before you launched it. But with AI, that is way, way too late. The risks are baked right into the process from the very beginning. Trying to fix them at the end, it's like checking a rocket for problems after it's already in orbit. It just doesn't work. And here's what happens. Because the official ways are too slow, people find workarounds, and that creates this huge problem called shadow AI. We're talking about all the unapproved, unmonitored AI tools that people are using all across a company, and every single one of them is like a hidden backdoor for security breaches and data leaks. It's a huge risk. So this whole situation, it really demands a totally new way of thinking. To make it through this AI Wild West, we have to stop being reactive, cleaning up messes after they happen, and start being proactive, preventing them from happening in the first place. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Thinking you're playing it safe by just waiting and seeing, that's an illusion. The risk hasn't gone away, it's just invisible. It's growing in the shadows, waiting to become a huge problem.
So basically, every company is standing at a crossroads. And this slide from the source material, it lays out the two choices perfectly. You've got one path, the do-nothing approach, where you're always finding out about problems after the fact. And then you have the other path, the proactive one, where you build and controls from the start.
Let's just break that down a bit. The old way, doing nothing, it means you're constantly fighting fires. Risks pop up when they've already done damage, it costs a fortune to fix, and you're always in a panic trying to keep up with new laws. But the new way, acting now, is all about being in control. You manage risks from day one, which slashes your long-term costs and makes you nimble enough to adapt to new roles easily.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? Well, the solution is built around this concept called AI guardrails. These are the actual tools we need to create that safer, proactive future we're talking about.
So what are they exactly? Well, simply put, AI guardrails are just automated safety checks. But, and this is the most important part, they are not an afterthought. They are built into the workflow from the very beginning, making safety just a normal, automatic part of how you work.
And this is the perfect way to think about it. Guardrails are not roadblocks. They're not there to stop you. They're like the safety barriers on a highway. And what do those do? They don't slow you down. They give you the confidence to actually drive faster because you know you're safe.
And this is the whole idea right here. Real AI governance isn't some extra layer you slap on at the end. It's about weaving security and compliance right into the DNA of your technology, so it's part of the very fabric of what you're building.
Okay, so whenever you introduce a big new idea like this, there are always some tough questions, right? A little skepticism. So let's just tackle the most common ones head on. First up, the big question of urgency. I mean, things are moving so fast. Can't this just wait? Why is now the time to act? Well, here's the deal. AI isn't some side project for a couple of tech people anymore. It's being used in everyday work by tons of people all over the company. And that means the risk has moved. It's not at the end of the project anymore. It's right at the very beginning. So we have to put the controls where the risk is. All right, the next one we hear a lot is, hey, why not just wait for the government to tell us what to do? We'll just follow whatever laws they pass, right? It's a tempting thought, but it's a really expensive one. Trying to rebuild your systems to comply with new laws after they're already built is always a nightmare. If you build a strong foundation now, you can adapt to new rules super quickly and avoid all those painful, costly fixes later. And here it is, the big one, the number one fear. Won't all these rules and all this governance just kill creativity and grind everything to a screeching halt? Actually, it's the total opposite. Think about it.
When the rules are fuzzy, people get scared. They don't want to make a mistake. But when you give them clear, automated guardrails, you give them the confidence to go for it, to experiment, to innovate inside a safe space. That clarity doesn't slow things down. It actually speeds them up.
Okay, so this all makes sense. But how do you go from theory to actually doing it? Where do you even begin to build these guardrails?
Well, the source material gives us 3 really clear first steps. First, formalize it. You've got to create a team that brings everyone together: IT, legal, and compliance. Second, map it. You need to get a really clear picture of what's going on. Find and map out all the different ways AI is being used: high risk, medium risk, low risk. And third, pilot it. Start small. Pick a few common sense scenarios and test out your guardrails to see how they work and prove that the idea is solid.
And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway here. The old way of thinking was about managing the final product. But in the new world of AI, it is all about managing the entire process, from start to finish. Because if you can control the process, you can trust the results. And that is the key to unlocking innovation that is fast, safe, and truly game-changing.